Wow, so we've got breaking news from the Donald Trump disaster and his continuing attacks on Fed Governor Lisa Cook. Basically, if you've been following the story, you'll know he's trying to fire her. And essentially, my first take on this stuff is how do we get on this South Park timeline and how soon can we get off? Basically, you have this reality TV president who runs everything like a reality TV show. He's the commander in tweet, and he's always trying to do stuff that no one else ever tries to do in history because, frankly, they're not as insane as Trump. What is Trump up to? He's trying to get his photo ops all the time. He'll just throw out a bunch of allegations that are unproven and essentially run everything like a mob boss. Now, the Congressional Black Caucus is already slamming Trump on this move. They're quoted here, "In the 111-year history of the Federal Reserve, no president has ever attempted to remove a governor of the central bank until now. President Trump is attempting to oust Dr. Lisa Cook, the first black woman to serve on the Federal Reserve Board, with no credible evidence of wrongdoing. This is a blatant effort to distract from his failure to lower costs for Americans and an apparent attempt to install a loyalist at the central bank who will carry out his agenda without question." Now, let's be clear. This is a racist, misogynistic, and unlawful attack on the integrity and independence of the Federal Reserve. It is a dangerous attempt to politicize and exert control over the central bank, one that will only continue to damage the economy, harm hardworking Americans, and undermine our credibility on the world stage. President Trump does not have the authority to remove Dr. Cook, and she has made it clear that she does not intend to step down from the board. The Congressional Black Caucus applauds Dr. Cook for her fortitude and looks forward to her continued service throughout the remainder of her term. So here's what's going on. While, most regular people are just, watching TV or watching YouTube, they're getting ready to send their kids off to school. Donald Trump, right, Captain Caplocks, he goes out on social media and he announces, "Hey, everyone, I'm firing Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook." And he did this in a letter on social media. So if you understand what's going on is he does this all the time. He announces this crazy crap on social media. And then we're all supposed to okay, what do we do with this right now, right? And if you understand, the Federal Reserve is supposed to be independent. Essentially, it's like a referee, in a game. And the referee is just like, hey, okay, this is the score. This is what's going on. And we're not really taking sides with any team. We're just trying to, manage the game, essentially, right? From Donald Trump's point of view, he treats everything like it's professional wrestling, where it's all fixed. There's a ton of screaming, and it's like this. "Yeah, Federal Reserve, you think you're so smart with your economic data and your independence, but me, Captain Caplock, sees through your game. Interest rates should be low like how I bend down for my boy Putin. Drop rates now like my elbow drop, yeah." And I know we make jokes about this stuff, but in all seriousness, Lisa Cook is actually the first black woman ever to serve on the Federal Reserve Board. She was appointed by Biden in 2022. Her term is supposed to go to 2038, and that's the key, right? It's supposed to go. And so what does Trump do? He gets one of his buddies. This guy is Bill Pulte. He works at the Federal Housing Finance Agency and basically throws out allegations that, Cook committed a mortgage fraud. Now, this was back in 2021. And they're saying what she did is that she applied for 2 different mortgages, claiming primary residence on both. Now, you have to be clear about this stuff. Cook hasn't been charged with anything. She hasn't been convicted of anything. There's been no trial, no jury, nothing. So, right, in Trump's point of view, who needs due process when we got a reality TV show to run? And essentially, Trump's always looking for a new villain of the week so he can distract you from the failing policies that he has. Trump has tried to do this before with Jerome Powell. It didn't work out so well for him. So now he's picking on someone else. In this case is Lisa Cook. Now, you have to understand, to just put this all in context, this is Trump playbook, right? He did The Apprentice, and his whole career is based on telling people, "You're fired," right? If you guys know the TV show, that's all it ends up being. And he tries to distract you. If you guys want to talk about Epstein stuff, you can totally talk about that. We talk about the tariff stuffs on this channel, which basically raises the costs for everyone because essentially that's the reality, right? And I told you guys before in another video, countries around the world are stopping mail to the USA. That's a real thing. And if Trump doesn't like the reality, he tries to fire reality because he lives in like Delulu land. So here's the thing. not all of us want to live in Delulu land, right? Lisa Cook is actually pushing back. And essentially she's like, I'm not going to take crap from this, game show reality president. And she's saying that Trump has no authority to fire her, right? And now she's actually just hired a star lawyer. His name is Abe Lowell. He does all these kind of high profile cases. And Lowell, he's a good lawyer. Let's be frank. He's a good lawyer. And he's essentially put his whole career now to fight Trump and doing this, Trump's trying to do all this illegal Trump stuff. This is a quote from Lowell. Lowell says, Trump has no authority to remove Cook. His attempt to fire her is based solely on a referral letter, lacks any factual or legal basis. We will be filing a lawsuit challenging this illegal action. And in fact, Cook herself, Lisa Cook, she said Monday that she would keep working at the Fed. So she's completely pushing back here, and has stated that she won't be bullied by Trump. So she's holding her ground. And I'll just be frank with you guys, it's good to see. So stand up for yourself. And if you feel that you're being, wrongly attacked by Trump, which Trump does quite a bit, yes, hire a good lawyer, fight back. And that's what they're doing. They're doing it through the legal system. The problem is, as you guys know, Trump doesn't really care about the legal system, and I'm sure you guys know this. Now, the Fed, though, has actually made a really interesting statement, and if you follow them, they usually speak in kind of boring language, vague language, and don't really get involved in the politics stuff, but they're fighting for their independence here. So basically, they're telling Trump, hey, take a hike. This is from the Fed. So the Fed says the Federal Reserve System was established by Congress to carry out its statutory mandates, including promoting maximum employment, stable prices, and a well-functioning financial system. So basically, they're saying, we have a job to do, and you're not helping Trump. They also said this: Congress, through the Federal Reserve Act, directs that governors serve in long fixed terms and may be removed by the president only for cause. And then they said, long tenures and removal protections for governors serve as a vital safeguard, ensuring that monetary policy decisions are based on data, economic analysis, and the long-term interests of the American people. So basically, it's like, Trump, you can't just go around firing people just because you want to do it. It doesn't work that way. We're here all about data, etc. Fed then also went on to say the Federal Reserve will continue to carry out its duties as established by law. As always, the Federal Reserve will abide by any court decision. So I think this is actually important to talk about, because the Fed is basically saying, hey, we're going to try to be transparent, accountable, and independent, right? And we're doing this in service of American families. So now we've got a three-way standoff, right? Trump saying Cook's fired. Cook's saying, no, I'm not fired. I'm going to hold my ground. The Fed's saying they're going to follow law, and likely this is going to go to the courts. And I'm sure you guys know, like a reality TV soap opera, it'll probably be going to the Supreme Court. And that's where it gets tricky, because Trump is already trying to stack the courts. I'm sure you guys know this. And today they're at a cabinet meeting, he's basically admitting that he wants to control everything like a mafia boss. This is actually Trump's quote. He says, we'll have a majority very shortly, so that'll be great. Then he laid out exactly what he'd do once he'd have a majority, which is, once we have a majority, housing is going to swing and it's going to be great. People are paying too high an interest rate. That's the only problem with us. We have to get the rates down a little bit, okay? Then Trump is saying, in regards to Cook's replacement, we'll have some very good people for that position, and I think we have some very good people we're down to. I think maybe in my own mind, right, I have somebody that I like. So that's how Trump thinks, is in his own mind, and he just wants to hire people that he likes. And we talked before, he actually treats this like casting. He looks at like someone's smile, their hairstyle, and I'll just say this, he prefers dudes with a certain kind of complexion, we'll put it that way. I'm sure you guys know. The problem with Trump, and there's a lot of problems with Trump, but it's never about someone who's qualified, okay? So Trump just, he doesn't care about if you have economic expertise or if you care about data or anything like that. For Trump, this is all a reality TV show, one, and then two, it's all about mafia control kind of stuff. So he's all about loyalty, he's all about corruption. And the craziest thing about all of this it is the Fed was actually designed, like the whole purpose of this stuff is to go against people like Trump. They have 14-year terms, right? So they come in, they look at the data, and they make decisions which make sense for long term. The problem is, as I've told you guys so many times, is Trump's at the end of his life. He's just thinking like, hey, how can I go out with a bang? And he's trying to drag the country and the economy down with him. And it's sad to see, to be frank. But I am inspired. I'm just being honest with you guys that Lisa Cook is fighting back, hired a great lawyer, and we're going to see how this plays out. My guess, though, is that's going to go to the Supreme Court. And even following this stuff, the craziest thing is just last week, Fed Powell's kind of signaling that the Fed was going to cut rates anyway, because that's what Trump wants, to cut rates. But apparently this isn't fast enough for Captain Cap Locks. And drop rates now like my elbow drop, yeah! And he wants to also probably take credit and it's like, hey, they're cutting because, I installed my people and I'm going to take credit for stuff. The thing is, like, when the Fed, and if you watch the speech, and I cover my channel, when the Fed's talking about cutting rates, it's actually not in a good way. Basically, they're saying, hey, Trump's tariffs are causing inflation. The economy is looking bad. We're looking at jobs and unemployment possibly, being in shaky positions. And essentially, they're cutting because things look weak under Trump, but they can't cut too much because then you're going to cause way too much inflation plus the tariffs. So the Fed's in a tough spot right now. And so that's why we literally try to go over this stuff with you guys every day. But point being, this is why you want, I'll just be honest, like independent, educated, right, professionals in place. You don't want any of these Trump people who are just basically Fox News, hosts who have no qualifications whatsoever other than they kiss up to Trump. And it's insane. It's ridiculous. I can see it. You can see it. And essentially we just try to keep each other sane and also inform others. So I always appreciate you guys' input on this stuff. And if you think there are other people who want to, understand what's going on, please like and share this video, of course. And I'll catch you all in the next video.